Kena Bridge of Spirits is finally here. After it was first announced with a gorgeous looking trailer back in 2020, things went a little quiet. I did see a couple of updates on their Facebook page, but aside from a couple of screenshots, there wasn't really much news out of Ember Lab. Well, after a couple of delays to polish the game, something I am very grateful they did, the wait is finally over. And boy, was it well worth the wait. I've been playing Kena non-stop since it dropped, and I'm just going to tell you right off the bat before we get any deeper into the real stuff. It is a hell of a game. I'm not going to mess you around and keep you wondering if it's worth playing. The answer is yes. It is by far one of the best games I have played in a long time, and I play a ton of games. It plays a little as though Zelda's Majora's Mask had a baby with a Pikmin, and that baby was a Pixar movie, and I'm all for it. Of course, there are a couple of things to mention that could be improved, and we will go deeper into those in a moment, but if you click out of the video right here and now, just know that if you do play Kena, then you are in for one hell of a story. For those that don't know, Kena Bridge of Spirits is a story-driven third-person fantasy action-adventure that combines exploration with fast-paced combat. As Kena, you will find and grow a team of charming spirit companions called the Rot, as you struggle to uncover the secrets of a forgotten community hidden in an overgrown forest where wandering spirits are trapped. The game is available for PC as an exclusive through the Epic Game Store, link in the description, and for all you console guys, you can grab the game on the PS4 and PS5 as a timed exclusive. Kena is not available on the Xbox at launch, but there is a chance that it could make its way over there eventually, once the PlayStation exclusivity deal runs out. Okay, enough of all that, let's get into the game. The first thing that grabbed me was the sheer amount of style. You remember those amazing looking cutscenes from the trailers? Well, they're back, and in full force, and the seamless way Ember Lab has linked cutscenes and gameplay makes the whole game feel like a playable movie. It just drags you into the story from the word go, and keeps you there for the long haul. Small little details help to keep the immersion strong, such as the top tier voice acting and the timed vanishing HUD that keeps it all about the visuals until it's time to jump into the action. The world is utterly magical, with glowing blue spirit magic all around you, fantastical plants, and other magical sights. The forest is dense and mysterious, and it's just calling out to be explored, but the ever-present danger of the corruption in its spawn keeps you from wandering off too aimlessly. When talking about the magical nature of the world, we have to talk about the Rot. When I first saw these little critters in the trailer, I was wondering if the whole thing was going to be a little kiddie. They instantly made me think of Pikmin, as I said earlier, and I did enjoy that game back then, but I did wonder how I would feel about these guys. Well, first off, they are ridiculously cute, and every moment they are on the screen is absolutely adorable. My kid watched me play for a little bit and instantly became obsessed with them. Ember have done a really good job of making them feel a part of the world, and not just as like an added mechanic. As you travel around, the Rot will follow you, and they interact with the environment. They will pop up anywhere and everywhere. They jump up and sit on toadstools, jump inside pots, sit in trees, investigate chests, they stand in groups on shelves as you casually run past. It's not just in key areas either, it happens everywhere. In the village, in the forest, on the ledge of a cliff, anywhere. I was actually amazed as to how far Ember have gone to make sure these little guys were always involved and present, and not just relegated to followers until they're needed for a mechanic or a battle. The Rot can also be customised with little hats to make them even cuter, and honestly I can see them being the basis of a merchandise empire. My kid is already asking for one. The central point of Kena is story. This game is all about the story, and it has been woven into the world in an almost artful way. I guess this goes back to what I was saying about it being like you're playing a movie, because it really does feel like that. In all my time playing, there wasn't a single moment that I felt a moment was just there for mechanics or filler in between scenes. The travelling and exploration felt like travel and exploration story. I also didn't feel as though it was too linear, although some places are very linear in nature, and I think this is because you always have the story pushing you forward. The map gives some idea of the size of the world, and although I did say some areas are linear, it should also be said that there are some semi-open world areas too. There is fast travel available between shrines once you unlock them, which allows you to get around the map a lot quicker. The world branches out from a central village, with each branch being a different region. These regions are open and can be explored and traversed as you like. However, there are linear moments in there, and sections where you must progress in order. As you run around, you will encounter puzzles, some involve your weapons, some will need the rot to pass, and others are platforming puzzles such as jumping or climbing. There are lots of chests to find which will reward you with blue gems that you can spend at the rot shop on all the different hats to customise your little critters, as well as purple fruits that give you sort of skill points. These can be used to upgrade your abilities as well as the abilities of your rot, which, by the way, are also hidden around the world. By collecting more and more rot, you will be able to level up and get even more powerful. Speaking of power and of the abilities, it feels like a good time to talk about the combat. The combat is action based and pretty fun, and some of the mobs can actually be quite difficult. Kina uses her staff to bash her enemies, the corrupted, which come in many different shapes and sizes. For combat basics, you have light attacks and heavy attacks, a double jump, a dodge, as well as a spirit shield which can be used to block attacks. You can combo attacks together, and you will need to get around some of the different enemies. For instance, these guys that hold up shields need to be smacked with a heavy attack to break their block first. There's nothing groundbreaking there really, but the fun really begins when the rot are added into the fray. Players can aim with their staff to control the rot in battle. This could be holding an enemy in place, stunning, or even attacking. As you level up your abilities, you gain new attack moves for both Kina and the rot, as well as some that can use both combined. For instance, this massive rot smash strike, or this rot bow attack. The combat is pretty fun and the enemies will try to surround you and attack in numbers. I really enjoyed it, but my only real problem with the combat was the camera. Sometimes it would whip around really quickly when I didn't want it to, and it would make me lose track of an enemy, causing me to get smacked across the area. The camera also gave me some issues when trying to aim the bow, as the movement felt a little jittery. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't terribly smooth either. Another issue I did have was the dodge. Sometimes I would find myself animation locked and floating in midair after being hit during a dodge. You can see it here in the video, how I kind of end up floating through the air and I'm unable to react until after the animation has ended. This also happened outside of combat. Around the world is corruption, and if you touch it you kind of get shocked and knocked back. This sends you into the same animation, and once caused me to float up into an area I wasn't even supposed to be in yet. I feel like this really needs to be looked at. It's kind of a shame that something so silly should cause so much trouble in such an otherwise polished game. Boss battles are frequent and fun, and come in many different forms to keep things interesting. Some of the bosses even become normal mobs later on, which adds to the feeling that you are growing more powerful as the story progresses, where an enemy that you had so much trouble with at the beginning is just run of the mill now. Without giving away too much, some bosses are a little bit more smacky till they're dead, whilst others might have some puzzle mechanics or weak points mixed in. It really gives a nice variety and keeps you guessing when it comes to the boss fights. Another element I enjoyed is the photo mode. Yep, that's right. If you are into screenshots and wallpapers, you'll be able to spend hour after hour composing the perfect shots as you adventure through the world. There are the usual controls such as free camera and height controls, zoom and focus pulling, as well as some more advanced features such as filters, aperture control and exposure metering. They've also added the ability to make Kina and the rot pose for you through the action, freeze and cheese commands, which is a nice little feature and allows for some nice selfie and family style shots, which I thought was a fun addition, and is yet another way that they have made this world feel so alive. The game is really well optimized too and ran very well. Even on a low end graphics card it still looked great and I saw no issues at all. There's also a built-in benchmarker, which is always something I like to see. I feel like I can't say much more about the game without giving away too much of the story, so I think I will wrap it up here by just once more reiterating how much fun I've been having with this game. It's been a really long time since the story of a game alone has really captured me, and Kina Bridge of Spirits has really done that. I can appreciate the amount of work that's gone into the game just through the little things like the rot popping up everywhere, and I really am glad that they delayed the release enough to polish it as much as they have. By no means is it the most difficult combat I've played, nor does it have the best exploration, but both of these elements are very good in their own right, and are very fun to do in the game. The truth is, however, that what Kena excels at is world building and storytelling, and for these alone, I really do believe it is worth playing. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the game if you already have it, and if you are thinking of picking it up, then there's a link to the Epic Games Store down in the description. If you'd like to support the channel, you can use my creator code at checkout, code is in the description. That's all from me on this one. I'm going to go play some more Kena now. I'll see you in the next one.